Hey folks, thanks for stopping by. You know, you could be the best diver in the world. If you surface and your boat and captain are not where you want them to be, looking out for you, over you, then you've got a big problem. Let's take a look at what I carry in my BCD pockets. For me, I'm Ron and this is Benji. And I'm one of those old men of the sea with lots of experience, over 35 years diving and many years teaching. I've got about 2,000 certified students. My goal here is to share with you some of my knowledge, some of the information that I've gathered and learned over the many years of teaching, and hopefully to enable you to be able to dive safer and enjoy the ocean environment safely. If you do find the content useful, please do consider liking and sharing as well as subscribing to my channel. I have my own personal VHF radio, and it is the DSC and GPS model, so it does give me GPS coordinates. This is usually in my backpack, so it doesn't form part of my dive gear as such, but it is in my backpack. Just in case I'm out there and I do have a captain, or I'm on a boat that's a rental or something perhaps that does not have a VHF radio, this will provide me emergency contact information with a Coast Guard or another diver perhaps. So this is the bag that I just washed off, and let's see what's in here. It's a bag of goodies. Some of them are brand new items that I put in just for the purpose of this thing. Underwater, I use a rattler, and that's the first thing I can use to get my buddy's attention. So I rattle this is in my pocket, and it's always attached via a little lanyard so that it doesn't fall off and get lost. All of us know how easy that is to happen. So this is a signaling device for my buddy underwater. I could also use my knife, and of course in the case of entanglement, you can release your knife, or you can use the back of it to reach around the back of you and tap, tap, tap on your tank to get your buddy and to be signaling to them. That's my knife that I always carry. Now, depending on where you dive, I carry a safety emergency or EMT Shears. And this is very good if you ever get entangled, for instance, in something like the new spider wire fishing line with a thin core of wire in it, then this can allow you to cut yourself free. Of course, if you've got wire material and you're trying to saw through it with the serrated edge of the knife, that's not a very good way of cutting through. So I tend to use this, and this has a little sort of carabiner clip, so I can clip it on, and I usually clip this onto my BCD strap at the shoulder area, and I have a little sheath that I put mine in. I don't have it with me, it's drying somewhere. Now, for underwater, I also have a light. So perhaps if I needed to signal a diver, if it's late in the evening or low light, I can make a signal, or I can shake this. I also carry a light, whether it's day or night, because if you're ever separated from your boat, your captain, your buddies, you're on the surface, you're floating, you're drifting, there's no one picking you up, this item can be turned on, and at night it makes you very visible. So you can turn this on and you can be signaling to your assistance as you see somebody coming that you're here or there you are. So I always have a light in my pocket. I consider that very important. Another signaling item that I would use, I just have a spare lanyard here, is a whistle. If I'm on the surface, my first item that I might use would be a whistle that I can blow on orally and get the attention of my buddy, come over here, or if the boat's not too far away, I can whistle to them and get their attention. Of course, the whistle is very straightforward, just blow into that. So that's the whistle. Now for the surface, I may also have in my, for use, I have a signaling device which is a mirror. So if I surface and it's bright daylight like today, I can, and this has directions. Of course, if you're going to use it, you'd peel off the directions and use it. I've never had to use it, I've never used this one. But you would look through here, it's got directions and it tells you how to use this signaling mirror. So I have this, it's small, it's cheap, and I have this in my pocket as well. I also have with me at all times my reel, and I usually have this attached here. And then this is a new one. This is by Dive Alert, and it is a pretty good unit, and you can surface marker buoy. You can deploy this from underwater. So what I do sometimes is I would send this up if I'm away from the dive master, for example, and or the other buddies, and I'm separated, can't find them. I can surface slowly. When I maybe get to 20-30 feet, I can attach this here to the system, and of course I can inflate this. Remember, I have a buddy, his name is Johnny. I'll just leave it at that. If you inflate this at 30 feet underwater, as this goes up to the surface, volume is going to double to that of what it was at the 30 feet. So remember, you're only going to put about half the air in this, and as you let this go up, it's going to expand and it's going to be floating and sitting high out of the water, letting the boat captain know, hey, I'm over here. You can hang out, do your safety stop, release the line as you need on the reel, and then reel it back up when you're finished. When you get back into the boat, of course, ideally you will just deflate everything, take this, put it back into your pocket, and it's safe and tucked away for the next dive. And of course this one here will attach to the BC pocket or anywhere in the BC that you have your clips, and it just stays there out of the way. So fold it back up and put it away. It's a bright color, and especially like this one or the sort of bright lime green, that makes you very, very visible. That's ideal. The other item I have here, and this can be used with this, and I let the captain know up front that this can mate with this for emergency purposes. If I'm out at sea, if I'm lost, can't see me at all, there are waves, there's lots of action on the surface, I can use this Nautilus GPS system. And I am doing a separate video on this. It's called a Marine Rescue GPS. I dive with this quite often. If I'm doing an easy shore dive, I may not have it in my pocket, but otherwise it just lives there. And these are good because if you surface and you do not see the boat, what you can do, this is for use on the surface, you would open the top here. There's a watertight seal, and this is good to over 400 feet of salt water. To turn it on, I would press the blue button, and for emergency, and there are instructions here. For emergency, I would release this, press the red button, and that would send out a distress signal. Basically, if you know a little bit about it, and I'm going to go through this in detail, I'll talk a little bit more about it, and then I'll do the technical side of this one. So it means it'll give you all the information you need. If you do activate it, it's going to send out a man overboard signal onto all the ships that have the AIS system. So I'm going to talk about that as well. They will receive this signal and know there's a man overboard, there's a man in distress or woman, and they need help. And this red button activates that. There is a test button here, so before you go out to dive, you may want to press this button, activate it, press your test button, and the instructions give you details on how to make sure it works and it's working for you when you go out there. So I'm going to cover that in some detail in two videos, two parts. I'm going to talk about it, and then I'm going to talk about the technical aspect. Show you. This is what we call the dive alert, and the dive alert attaches this to my BCD low pressure inflator. So I just simply clip it on here. When I surface, as long as I've got air, so as long as my tank has air, I can press on this inner button here, and that would activate a loud air horn. That air horn will signal that I'm in distress or I need assistance, come get me. So that's a quick overview of some of the safety items I use. Thing. If you're gonna be in my way, I can't film. Yes, I don't want to kiss. I just want you to be sitting here. Why don't you face the camera like normal people? Yes, turn around. That's right. I said face the camera. Sit. Good boy. Right.